Hello, welcome back to Hello to Healing. I'm one of your hosts, Michaela.
And I'm your other host, Michelle.
And today we are going to talk about aligning with yourself and kind of this universal signs of if you're on the right track, and where, if you get confused or you're not sure where to go, kind of listening to what the universe is sending you. So let's kind of dive right into the first kind of topic that we have here is the sudden or random thoughts that we might have. Michelle, do you want to kind of kick us off with that?
Well, I think there's times that things come into our head suddenly, and we think, "Oh no, that can't be right," or "Why would I be thinking that?" Well, chances are that the universe is putting some of that into your head, and if you don't listen or don't become aware, it just keeps bringing that back to you. It's kind of a repetitive process. So, if it is something, a thought that pops into your head, you go about your business, you don't really pay any attention, and it comes back again, you should start listening to it, most definitely. So those thoughts are important. As we've said many a times, thoughts are things and they're important. So the universe does send messages through how we think, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything to add or an example of your own?
Yeah, I think currently I'm in Nepal traveling, and along my journey these past, years, just traveling, sometimes my husband and I, we just get this feeling that we need to go somewhere, and most people don't really understand why that location or why that place. For example, we went to India, and I can't tell you the amount of times people ask me why. Why that location? Why
I
that
get asked
country?
that for you.
Yeah. And it was one of those things that when we even said the word, it just felt right. Like it just felt like this light going up in the middle of our body aligning with us and just felt like it was the right choice. And of course, everything has its own divine right timing too. From our experience in South America, traveling prepared us truly for being in India. So everything has its own time for sure of when to go. So
Right,
yeah,
right, right,
everything has its own, but definitely random thoughts come up. You need to listen to it. A lot of times they can feel just almost like to me, it feels like a cloud. And
right.
this thought is just trying to push its way forward. And I have to pay attention and listen to it. You don't have to follow that thought. You have the choice of free will, but a lot of times it's put in front of you, this thought, for a reason. So the best thing to do is just to reflect and think, okay, why is this coming up for me right now at this moment? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, the other one that we would say is aligned with the universe and kind of following these signs would be numbers and sequences, things that you see repetitively. I know in my life, I have seen many different numbers at certain specific times, and it shows up on bus tickets, it shows up on messages, it shows up on billboards and things that t-shirts all the time. And I remember that when I was traveling in Thailand, I kept seeing this number 19, and it was a protection number for me, and I just felt this calm feeling whenever I'd see it. And I remember telling my friend one day that I felt like I was going crazy because I kept just seeing this number 19 everywhere. And I thought she's not going to believe me. And so I told her as we were walking down this, back street road and there was no cars. And all of a sudden I told her, look, I've been seeing this number 19. And I kid you not, this like motorcycle taxi drove by with the number 19 on the back of the bike right there. And in that moment, she was like, okay, you're magic. That's impossible.
Yes,
It was extreme.
that number 19 has swallowed you all your life. That is for sure. And I think the other part of the awareness is once you're seeing it and going, I'm seeing that number a lot, um, is to kind of look, what does that mean? What is the significance numerology wise? To just take it another step and okay, yeah, it's showing up, but what does it mean? Is to look and see, just like you said, it's for protection. I mean, for a knowledge as to how that relates to you, because there's a whole world of numerology that people have studied, and it's significant. I mean, it's even in our history of how numbers have been used. So that is something that you need to definitely pay attention to. Yeah,
Even if you're not necessarily super into numerology or understand how
right.
it works, it doesn't mean that you have to know everything about a subject for you to just look up on your phone if you see this number
Exactly.
consistently, or if you feel called to look up what that number means, do it. It takes 2 seconds to look it up and just see maybe what this number means could hold a message for you of question you've been thinking about or something that you would like to align yourself with. So it's really just kind of the universe sending you messages, but it's not forcing you to do anything. You have free will to choose to look at that or not. But the way
Exactly.
that you see these numbers is awareness of your present moment on a consistent basis all the time.
Right. Right.
And you have to be present for that. Yeah. So that's a huge
Exactly.
thing. Well, on top of numbers and sequences, we have the significant people or chance meetings that we have in our lives. And I know sometimes we come across people and we have experiences with people, maybe you can't even explain how that kind of meaning came to be. Um, Michelle, do you have any experience with this?
Oh, I've had lots of different experiences with that, or people that have been in your life. You're not connected to them, and then they show back up. Sometimes there's a lot of significance with that. I do have an example of that. I spent time when I was in college in South America in Brazil. And I went to a very, very small college in West Virginia. I mean, very small. I had more in my high school graduating class than my class in college. So I was down there and I was talking, they were asking me where I went to college. And I was talking to this person and I told them, they said, oh, yes, I know exactly where that place is. And I know someone that's gone to school there. And I was like, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? But what it did for me, being so far from where I was used to, and a whole different culture, it made a huge comfort connection for me at that point in time. So, you take those little things, it's like you go, oh, thank you, universe, for that. I needed that. So that's just an example. I would have never ever thought of anything like that, but it's like a small world. We're connected. So, but
I have
you
some
can also,
very extreme experiences with those kinds of situations in my life. But yeah, that's amazing though. You meet someone that's completely across the United States.
oh,
That
yes, or someone that you know random that's calling you that hasn't been in your life. There's a reason that they're probably connecting, and it's just being aware of that and watching the universe and going, oh, okay, putting it together. So,
Mhm. Many times, I mean, we call these coincidences how we align with certain people or situations like that. But what's really going on is that you have an energetic field that's around you. and that energy
Correct.
is being emitted from yourself along with those thoughts and desires to have that connection still even so far away. Therefore, that same type of energy is matched to you, and so you receive that same thing that you were looking for. Sometimes it can be way later than you're hoping for, or can be right away.
Right.
It just depends on the situation. In my own experience, when I was traveling in Argentina, my husband and I, we got off a bus, a 30-hour bus ride to a town, and it wasn't even where we wanted to be. We needed to go another 3 hours somewhere else. There was no buses. And so we decided to just try and hitchhike. And eventually, this man stopped in the middle of a freeway, and it's very cold, icy, and snowy outside. And I'm standing outside with this sign. We get into this man's car. He drives us in the middle of nowhere at this little stop where they had police check in order to go to another location. And the man told us, okay, stay here and you'll get a car somewhere, somehow. And we're standing there, we're waiting and we're waiting and waiting, and it's hours and it's freezing, and we're basically dancing, waiting for a car to come. Well, eventually, this bus ends up coming, and they stop, and we say, can we please get on? And they say, oh, we're the extra bus that we added because there were some people that wanted to go into town. And then they asked, are you Michaela? And they said, we've been trying to call you, get on. And so then we got on the bus and then kept going. It was just, it was ridiculous. But it just shows you when you really push and you just tell what you want, and the universe is going to deliver what it is that you desire, and it's not necessarily in the way you think it's going to be.
It's it may not show up like that. That's for sure. You know,
There were
you
literally 10 people on a double decker bus that they made. So, not really.
and they found you,
They
and
found
they
us.
found you.
Yep,
There you go.
exactly.
The universe put
So,
that in order for sure.
what I do have to
Alignment.
say about these, yeah, significant meetings, things like that, when you are consistent and persistent in what it is that you want, if you keep going, usually the universe will deliver something that is aligned to what it is that you desire. And
Absolutely.
though sometimes it's not at the ideal time that you desire it to be, for us, that saved my husband and I's ass, honestly. That saved us. We're in the middle of nowhere in the ice. But which goes to the next thing in talking about delays, setbacks, roadblocks, things that kind of stop us along our path. And at that time, we can't necessarily understand why something is going on like that, but it ultimately is for a better reason. So, Val, you want to
Yes,
say
you
something?
have to realize that sometimes you are not going to be able to go in the path that you're on. You're going to have a roadblock for a reason. I can give you an example. I I had in the course of a year uh, three different accidents where the cars were totaled. I was fine, and none of them were my fault, but it actually, unfortunately, took me a while to wake up. It was almost every time I was traveling to the place I was working, which was a distance. And it was the universe saying, you need to not have this job. You need to be in a different position. You need to be somewhere else. And it took me a little bit to listen, really, to listen. So, it's better if you listen a little sooner. Thank goodness I was never really injured. But there are times that, there's things happen. Things do happen. So recognize the roadblock, be grateful when it's like, okay, that saved me. Just know that the universe is has your best interest in mind. Sometimes we don't always see it that way, but that is true. So
Did it
anything
work
else to
out
add?
after that?
Absolutely. I eventually I did. leave that job and got one much closer to my home, and it was much better for me in a lot of different ways. Yes, absolutely. So
Mm.
the universe
Knowing
knew.
when to, yeah, knowing when to pivot and transition. I can tell you,
Exactly.
I can tell you on my travels in life, it really teaches you a lot because for us, we're not in just one place for a long period of time, but we're in a
Right.
country for a longer period of time. And so as we're traveling, we, experience a lot of different things. And then at one point, usually we feel something within ourselves that kind of means that it's time to go. Maybe things start going wrong. They're having a lot of issues, one thing after the other, and it just something maybe almost feels unsafe or uncertain.
Exactly.
That's the feeling that we get every time it's time to leave, to go to another
Right.
location. It's
Right.
almost like it's a guiding, something is pushing us a little bit. Okay, guys, you're done, finished. So
Change. The path is changed.
the path
So
is
sometimes,
constantly changing.
sometimes be grateful for a delay or a roadblock. It can be your blessing in the long run. So
Mhm,
just be aware of that as far
mhm.
as the
How
universe.
did you deal, just to give people a little, hope in their own situations? How do you deal with those, those roadblocks, like with those 3 car accidents? And was it 1 year that you had that?
You know what? I had to, it's being stepping back from the situation. Well, number one, I was glad there was no injuries, just the cars. Um, Stepping back from the situation and taking, I would almost call it a global look at what has occurred, as to what is the message that I'm supposed to get from this. Not necessarily in like, oh my God, my car is a mess. So, why is this happening to me? Why is this occurring? Instead of what is the message that I should be receiving? Not not necessarily why is this occurring? What what am I supposed to gain from this? What am I supposed to look at? Um, once you become aware, there's that, what am I supposed to look at here? So
Mm-hmm.
that was the
Mm-hmm.
part. Now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it took me a little bit, but I finally got it right. So,
Listening. And also, I think another thing is listening to yourself too. I mean, the detours and things are outside external factors kind of directing you to a specific place, but there's also things like things that just don't work out. Like, no matter
yeah,
how hard you try to put yourself in alignment, you're doing the actions, you're doing the things that you believe are going to get you to your goal. And every time you just keep, like, it just doesn't happen. It's never ending. And maybe in that moment, the best thing is to really stop, like you're saying, take a moment and reflect on, okay, you know what? Let go, surrender to this situation and the desire that you have. And maybe this is not the right time. And that's okay too. Everything has its own
right,
timing. And that at the end of the day, everything is always working out for you in one way or another. It just might not be the way that you think it's supposed to happen,
exactly,
right?
exactly,
So
right.
you didn't control the moment that you were born. So why do you think you can control all the other things in your life right away? That's not how the universe works.
This works. No, no,
All
it
right. Well,
answered, but
yes, exactly. Well, thank you for having listening to us today. We really enjoyed kind of sharing a little bit more about aligning with the universe and kind of sharing more of our own experiences and hope that it will help you too. If you're interested in learning more about energy healing, we do have a few different modalities of energy healing in the Power Within Wellness.com. if you're interested, please take a look and feel free to email us too below. And we look forward to hearing from you next time. See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.